And hello there, warm welcome along to today's United Kingdom talk. Those of you watching on YouTube, some technical information for you. We are now back on the older camera. The old one I usually use for outside bits and pieces. I completely forgot I actually had this. It's a little flip cam. Have a look at it on the internet, flip cam. And I found the picture quality is really good on this. I completely and totally forgot I had this little camera. So that's what I'm using today because we've been unable to resolve all the shaking business on the other camera I had. So that's gone back. Well, it's not gone off yet, but I've got my. Look at this. 1 minute. I've got my oh, just a minute. My bubble wrap envelope. Bubble wrap envelope, all ready to go to Australia to the people I bought it from. £5 that's going to cost me to send that through the post. God's sake. I have a feeling that they're not actually going to find anything wrong with the camera that I sent back. I just... Oh, do you know I haven't turned the light on? Just a minute. Let me turn the light on. Silly me, I'm sitting here in darkness. I have a feeling they're not actually going to find anything wrong with the camera. I think it's something to do with the software that was provided with it. I don't know why I think that. Well, I do, because when I plug the camera in and it's on preview, everything is fine. Nothing shakes. It's all perfect. It's when you start recording that the problem occurs. That's when you start getting shaking pictures and the sound's going out of sync with the video. And I just think that it's something to do with the software. And if that's the case, I don't think there's any way around it. Which is a shame, really. So I may not, if I'm using this camera I am now, if I find it's good enough to use inside as well as outside, I may just use that. Although I do like the idea of having a proper video camera in front of me on a tripod. Yes, the tripods are coming, boys and girls. They are indeed. So there we are, back on the outside camera today. All right. Now, if you're listening to the show, I have to tell you, I haven't dressed up today. If you're watching, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you're listening, you won't know until I tell you. Today, I have different, what's the word? Attire, isn't it? Attire. I have different attire on today. I certainly do. Not my usual colourful shirts. But today I have on something completely different. Have you any idea what I've got on? And no, it's not a pair of Speedos. I'm not sitting here in my swimming costume or a pair of small white pants or anything like that. No, there's nothing rude. There's no perversions here. Not on United Kingdom Talk, if you don't mind me saying so. It's a family programme. I'm sitting here. No, here's a clue. Here is a clue, right? I could have just got out of bed. Any ideas? Come on, try and think now. I could have just got out of bed. No, haven't got my... I heard you say that then. I haven't got my dressing gown on, but you were close. Try again. One red cross. No, I'm not sitting here naked. 2 red crosses. Try again. Correct. I am sitting here today in pyjamas. I am. Now, why is this? Is this because I've only just got up? Well, sort of. I've been up about an hour and a half, but no, that is not the reason. You see, I purchased these yesterday, a new set of pyjamas. I actually haven't owned a pair of pyjamas for 20 years. I remember wearing them as a little boy, when living with mum and dad, of course. But when I moved out, I quickly learnt the pleasure of sleeping naked in one's sheets. Sheets. Do you sleep naked? Or do you have pyjamas, boys and girls? That's the question. And anyway, I wanted to show these new pyjamas off. How much do you think they cost? Go on, have a guess. Now, if you're new to the show, you won't know. I have to tell you, I don't like spending money on clothes. It's a complete waste of time. You can get good quality clothes cheaply now, certainly here in the UK. How much do you think these pyjamas cost? Shall I stand her up? I'm going to stand up now and give you a little twirl. Look, very nice pyjamas. Like nice. They're like. I'm just going to turn around now. There we are. and they are like red and white sort of little checks and stripes and things like that. Red. I don't know. Like, are they? Would you call that checks? I don't know. Well, they're square, red, black, and white. I purchased these from a shop called Peacocks in Bracknell, where I live. How much? £8. Ding! Bargain! We like a bargain. We like a bargain. Now, I could have gone into the department store, one of my favourite shops, Bentl's, and possibly bought a pair of silk pyjamas for anything up to 100, 150 quid. What a waste of money, dear. We don't waste money. I've told you this time and time again. £8 for a pair of pyjamas, and I am over the moon with that. Now, the question is, why have I bought a pair of pyjamas? I can hear you asking it now. Listen carefully. If it's not you asking, you'll hear the other people asking. Listen. Why is he wearing a pair of pyjamas? Did you hear them? Let's listen again. I don't know. Why is he wearing a pair of pyjamas? See? Well, you want to know. They want to know why I'm wearing a pair of pyjamas. Because I don't wear pyjamas in bed. Because today for me is Saturday. I don't know what day it is for you. Today for me is Saturday. And tonight I am DJing at a pyjama party. How exciting is that? I've never done a pyjama party before. I've done a school disco. I've done a beachwear party. I've done a foam party. Never done a pyjama party. Of course, the trouble is when you do these things, you're in danger of being the only one there in pyjamas. and then how's it going to be? You're going to look a little bit of a div, aren't you? Oh? Chris Reardon, the DJ. Oh, look at him in his pyjamas. So I will feel particularly stupid if I'm the only one in pyjamas. But you have to play along. So that's why I've now got this brand new pair of £8 pyjamas. It's quite nice, actually. I mean, I might even try wearing these in bed. Sometimes if you haven't been a bit bothered during the daytime, and you go to bed and it's a bit warm and you're a bit sticky in bed. And you kind of, you move your leg and your legs stick together because you haven't had a shower. Isn't that awful? Well, if you had these on, then it would automatically lift and separate your legs, wouldn't it? Eh? It would. It would lift and separate your legs and provide that little bit of material in between them so that your legs would no longer stick together because you couldn't be bothered to have a shower before you got into the bed. Just a suggestion. Are you a pyjama wearer? Or as some people call them, PJs, pyjamas, PJs. Oh, please don't say why PJs, pyjamas, PJs. Do you get it? Do you wear pyjamas, or are you naked in bed? Or maybe you wear a nice white lacy negligee. Is that what it's called? Or some lingerie in bed, do you? I think James Dean wears lingerie in bed. I really do. James Dean is another host of a podcaster. You can find him at matineeshow.co.uk. James Dean wearing his lingerie in bed. James Dean, host of the Matinee Show, matineeshow.co.uk. All right. So we'll see how that goes, the pyjama party tonight, and I'll let you know on the next show. But I have to say, last week at this particular bar, I don't know what happened, but there was a bit of a fight in there. Now, I rarely see fights in bars. I mean, I know whenever you get a big one, it's all over the news and all that business. You don't see them that much. At this particular bar I work at, we have, in fact, at all the bars I work at, the doormen are pretty good. They're nice people. They are. I'm serious. They're not nasty. I've seen some clubs before, and they have awful, awful doormen that are just downright nasty. And none of the places I work at, certainly at the moment, have got, I would say, nasty doormen. They're all very, very reasonable people. And usually, if something breaks out, they often spot it before it started. You can often tell. And from my point of view, from the DJ's point of view, you can often look around and see if there's anything brewing anywhere. And immediately, you don't waste time, you immediately go over to the doorman and tell them, hello, I think there's something going on over there. And the doorman will come over. He won't interfere. He'll just stand wherever and observe and see what's going on. The other thing the doormen are very good at, chucking at people for taking drugs in toilets. And it's always so obvious. It really is, because obviously, you know, taking drugs in a pub is illegal. Forget about the whole moral thing and all the health issues. And it's illegal. You're not allowed to do it, whether you go in the toilet or whatever. And it's always obvious if someone, either a girl or a boy, every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes, they pop into the toilet again. You know what's going on. And so often I'll go over to the doorman and say, that one over there, she's been in the toilet a little bit too much. And then I'll go over and see what's going on. Because a venue can have its licence taken away for such activities. Right, how does that affect me? Well, if a venue loses its licence, I lose my job. You see what I mean? So that's what goes on. But last week, at this particular venue, there I was, playing my records, and this bloke came over a few times and was asking for some records. And he was a little bit incoherent. I thought, oh, he sounds a little bit drunk to me. But he was all right, you know, he was fairly pleasant towards me. And I'm like, what? What did you say? and laughing at that, and that was it. And then, at some point, there is a settee, a sofa, that is next to me, against the wall in this venue. I'm not going to tell you which one, okay? Because that's not fair. You'll assume that every time this place is open, there's trouble, and there isn't. And that couldn't be further from the truth. But I won't tell you the name of this particular one, because that's not really fair on the venue. So this bloke is then stood up on the settee and started dancing on there. Well, that's not allowed. You see, the problem is, if someone falls off the settee then and hurts themselves, what could happen is that they then take the venue to court for allowing them to stand on the settee. I know that sounds stupid. This is more an American thing. I'm sorry to say that to my American friends out there, but it's very much an American thing where you sue for money whenever you can. I think it's a disgusting thing that should never be allowed. If someone decides to get up on the settee and falls over, then so be it as far as I'm concerned. You shouldn't be allowed to sue the venue. Nothing to do with us, whether you're drunk or off your heads or what. You're the one who fell off, not me. But as things happen, it's a possibility. I know I don't know her, but I know of one lady who was in another venue once, and she had these stiletto shoes or whatever on, and she was drunk, and she fell over in the venue on one of the stairs going up. There's only like 2 steps in this particular place. And she took the manager to court. It's still going through at the moment. She took the manager to court and is trying to get money, blaming the flooring in the venue for catching her stiletto shoe and her falling over and hurting herself. She's trying to get money for that. I think that's wrong. Shouldn't get so blooming drunk and blame it on... It's dreadful. It's dreadful. And often, you know, perhaps... I'm sure you might have hurt yourself somewhere in a street or some accident, which was probably your fault. And you've been telling someone about it, and then they come out with, oh, you can get money for that. It's a terrible, terrible society that you can go out and sue people. I mean, someone could probably try and sue me for doing this show. Couldn't you? You could be watching this show and you could get a headache. And you could sue me for giving you a headache, couldn't you, lovey? Eh? You could. I mean, it's just a joke. It really is. And it shouldn't be allowed. All this suing business going on all the time. Greedy, greedy people. That's all I'm saying. An accident is an accident. End of story. There are times, of course, when accidents are due to the negligence of perhaps someone in charge. Here in the UK, we have lots of building and safety regulations. If, for example, you're working on a building site, and as many times I'm sure you've seen that you've gone past a building site and people aren't wearing their special hats. Or perhaps they're not attached properly by a harness to scaffolding or stuff like that. And then they fall off. Because management have told them, don't worry about that, it takes too long. Now that is wrong. Yes, sue the management. But then on the other hand, it's difficult when you're doing a job like that, I suppose, isn't it? Because on one hand, you know that you've got to wear all this stuff on the building site. And yet management is telling you, no, it takes too long, just get on with the job. So if you say no to the management, I've got to put this stuff on, they might say, oh, well, you might as well go then. Do you see what I mean? Very difficult there. But when it comes to accidents, tripping over in pubs, because you're too damn drunk to know what you're doing, I don't think it should be allowed that you can sue. Anyway, going back to this particular night in this particular venue. So this bloke's dancing on the chair and I kind of grabbed his hand. I said, come on, mate, you're not allowed on there. You'll have to get off or you'll be chucked out. This was the same one who seemed to be a bit drunk earlier. So he came straight down, give him his due, and he wouldn't let go of my hand. And he was like dancing. He was standing in front of me. And he kind of had my hand behind him, just holding it like that. And I thought, all right, fair enough. Perhaps he likes me. Well, so he's carrying on dancing. And the next thing, there's a bloke dancing in front of him with his back to him. He suddenly grabbed this bloke's shoulder, pulled him round and smacked him in the mouth and headbutted him. And then this bloke's laying on the floor in front of me. I thought, what on earth was that about? So quickly, I don't usually completely kill the music. Okay? The bar is in full swing. Everyone's dancing. But this bloke wasn't getting up. So I killed the music straight away and called the doorman. Keith, I said. Keith, come over. And quick as a flash, they come over. If the music dies, they know something's badly wrong. Usually I'll just dip the music and say, Keith, please come to this end. And he will still run through. Now, when you call a doorman, certainly from my point of view, if I call the doorman over the microphone, it's a last resort. You have to make snap decisions like this. We're all part of the same team. I don't believe, anyone comes into a venue for one reason. You don't come in for the DJ. You don't come in for the bar staff or whatever. You come in for a group of things, and all these things have to work properly together. It's a bit like the cogs turning in a clock. Everything has to work properly together. You've only got to have one bad bar staff, one bad member of the bar staff, someone rude, and that can stop people coming in because they don't want to see that barman or barwoman, doesn't matter, whichever. So when you call a doorman, from my point of view, it's usually as a last resort. If I've seen something brewing, I'll probably try and walk over to the doorman and say, oh, there might be something going on. All right, thanks, Chris. And they'll walk over gently. If you have to call them, then there's something up, and the doorman then have to run through. Can be difficult if it's a busy night, but they have to get to you, and sometimes stupid people stand in the way and don't get out of the way, and they have to be pushed, unfortunately. That's the way it is. You can't, put it this way, you might need a doorman because you're having a heart attack on the floor. If people are in the way of the doorman and kind of a bit slow to get out of the way, they might not get to you in time, and that's it. So they do a very important job. And the doorman, I called the doorman and they came running through, and this bloke's not getting up off the floor. Anyway, eventually he did get up, assisted by the doorman, and they came straight after me. They always, if I've called them, they'd come over to me. What happened, Chris? Because they need to find out what happened. I said, I don't know. Some bloke, 1 minute he was dancing there, and the next minute he just smacked this bloke in the mouth for no reason at all. And there was no reason for it. It wasn't a dispute over a drink. It wasn't a dispute over a girl or a boy. It was nothing. No reason for it whatsoever. It was just a completely random act. And that's what made it all the more mysterious. Anyway, after this bloke got up and he sat down in the settee, I couldn't believe it. But it was one of what I would say, the customer that I've known in there the longest. And I haven't been at that particular venue very long. And the shocking thing is, he's a really nice person. Really nice person. And his girlfriend, too, is a really nice girl. And, of course, she's crying her eyes out now. And this bloke, he's got... above his eyebrow is all cut. And his lip is cut. And he's, like, all dazed. He's just like, what happened? What happened? He didn't even remember what had happened. So... very, very, very strange night indeed. He was bleeding quite a lot, and his girlfriend's sister then got some paper toweling type things to kind of blot out the face, and the manager took him down to the office, and they did what they could do for him there. But as soon as I saw him, I says, you've banged your head, haven't you? He said, well, yeah, but I'm all right. I said, no, you're not. I said, you need to go to the hospital and have that checked. Because we've seen this in the news before. Wasn't there a girl, a celebrity, someone in films, I think, a little while back, who went skiing, I believe, and she hit her head somewhere and didn't think anything more of it. And then, excuse me, and then hours later... she ends up in hospital. Oh, no, didn't she become very sick on the plane suddenly, hours later? And then I think, I'm not 100% sure, then I think she either ended up in hospital or died. One of the two, I can't remember. If you bang your head, it's very, very important to go and get that checked out. Although I have to say, as many times I've been in the kitchen, and you open a cupboard. I mean, I don't need to say any more, do you? You get up quickly and suddenly, bang, you hit your head on the cupboard. That doesn't half hurt, doesn't it? But I said to him, and he's like, no, I'll be all right. I said, no, you need to go to the hospital. You really do. Then this would have been 12 o'clock at night. So after a while, he left with his girlfriend, and they went to the hospital. And the girlfriend's sisters, because there were two of them, they stayed in the bar, and we carried on. When you've had an incident like that, little incidents are okay. But a big incident like that, it can sometimes be very hard to recover the night from that, from the DJ or entertainer's point of view. But we did, fortunately. It after that, it leaves an atmosphere in the venue. What happened to the bloke who hit him? We don't know. He disappeared. He disappeared. The doorman managed to get him and chuck him out because they come straight over to me and said, it was this one. I said, he hit him for no reason at all. And when they looked at the bloke who had been hit, that's when we realised it was someone I knew. And he comes in there every single week with his girlfriend. And they are a lovely couple, a really nice couple. And they're absolutely made for each other. He's very good looking. She's very pretty. Absolutely made for each other, these two. And I just don't understand why this bloke suddenly freaked out like that. Madness. They chucked him out and he kind of disappeared before the police could be called. But we've got the closed circuit television. There's loads of cameras in the pubs. Most of the places I work at now, I have to say, sadly, are covered in cameras, which is just a sign of the times, really, isn't it? But that wasn't the only incident in the area that night. There was a few little scuffles in the pub that night, which is unusual. It wasn't a full moon. This is the strange thing. But after I finished at 2 o'clock, the other I got my wages and left, and I decided I'd go to the hospital and see if this lad was there. But I did have the funny thing is, this was the same week as James Dean had come down to stay. I mean, he's just a bringer of trouble, isn't he, James Dean? He really is. And he says, does that sort of thing want to make you leave a venue? I said, certainly not. I've never seen so much excitement somewhere. But afterwards, as we were leaving, I had to drive James to the coach station to get his coach home. And as I left the venue, it became apparent there were lots of fights going on outside in the area, which is a strange thing. Nothing to do with our bar. And then it became apparent that the other two bars were also having a lot of problems that night. One bar was closed down an hour earlier by the police because they had a massive fight in the pub. Glasses being thrown and everything. I mean, I got soaked. I got soaked by a glass of lager or beer or whatever it is that went flying across me on this particular night. Unfortunately, the beer got into some of the equipment, a little mixing unit. And that kind of, after, I thought it was all right. And then about 10 minutes later, the sound started cutting out. I thought, oh no, here we go. Fortunately, I was able to do a quick rewire and plug the output straight from the laptop through to the sound system rather than going through the mixer. But unfortunately, that meant I couldn't use a microphone or anything like that throughout the night, which probably to those customers was a good thing when I think about it. So there were other fights going on outside, and I then became aware that the place was crawling with. There were two police vans, and there were police people I could see calling people over and talking to them, and little things going off all over the place. I thought, what on earth is happening round here tonight? And then I saw a girl laying in the gutter in the road with another girl standing next to her, and this girl laying in the road was just screaming. She was just... You've never seen anything like it. It was like something out of a film. It really was. This girl was just sitting there, literally laying in the road, screaming. And then I observed a police van go over to this girl laying in the road. It went over very slowly, and then a police lady came out, and that, I suppose, they have to have police ladies to do that sort of thing if it's a girl. And just talking to her, I don't know, and then I went. So an absolutely bizarre night, really. Bizarre. And I'm down there again tonight to do my pyjama party. Oh God, Eric, we love it. The excitement is just too much. It really is. couple of the customers, and it's usually the girls, I'm afraid, that are rude. Downright blooming rude. And there were a couple of the girls that were really rude on this particular night as well to me while I'm playing the music, coming out with all sorts of things. We hate this music, it's this, you know, you're gonna, and this usually happens when you've got a full dance floor. Someone will come up and saying, we don't like this music, and they use a swear word. It's rubbish. Well, what do you want then? But I always talk to people in the same tone that they talk to me. If you come up to me and say, all right, Chris, have you got something from Beyonce, please? And I'll say, yeah, I'll put that on for you. Or have you got something by something I haven't got? And I say, no, I haven't got that one. I'm sorry. So do you want something else? Oh, right, okay. And it's a bit like that. But when they come up and they say, we don't like this, your music is rubbish, I say, well, go somewhere else then. I will take exactly the same tone as they take to me. If you're going to be rude to me, I shall be rude back. I don't care how old you are. I will talk to people, and I don't think you're going to get run over on me, dear. I will talk to people in exactly the same tone as they talk to me. So after that, I've got itchy ear roll now. I haven't had an itchy ear roll for ages. Do you remember I used to get that? About a year ago, wasn't it? I think I've got a bit of water in my ear after I've washed my hair. I like to wash my hair for you in the morning, you know that. So I took James Dean to the coach station and that. And then I thought, well, I must go to that hospital and see if that boy's okay. Because 3 hours would have actually passed between the time he'd gone to the hospital to sort of now. So I thought, well, he's probably been seen now because casualty units on a Saturday night do tend to be pretty busy with people who have had fights and have broken things and what have you. So I got to the hospital and I didn't know the boy's surname. So I went in and said, oh, hello, I've just come to see if one of my friends is in here. And I said the first name. She said, what did he what was he brought in with? I said, he will have had a cut face. And oh, yes, she said, he's just been seen at the moment. He's with his girlfriend in there. Do you want to sit out there and have a wait? And I said, okay, then. So I looked around and then I saw one of his other friends who was sitting in the waiting room. So I said, oh, hello, mate, you're in here as well. He said, yeah. He said, you waiting for what's his name? I said, yeah. And notice I'm not telling you their names because that's not fair, okay? And so I sat down next to him. I said, what time did he go? And he said, oh, about 10 minutes ago. I said, oh, right, okay, well, I'll sit here for a long. I see it was quite late now. It was about 3:30 in the morning. So I thought, well, I'll sit there a while and see if he comes out. But so I waited about 15 minutes. And then and I had a little chat to his friend, who's probably the same age as me, his friend, actually. The boy who was being seen to is actually half my age. But nevertheless, you know, he'd become a friend, so I thought I'd better go and see him. And after about 15 minutes, he still hadn't come out. So I said to his friend, I said, well, it's late now. I said, he's got his girlfriend with him. You're here as well, so I'm going to disappear. Just tell him I popped in. And yeah, he said, okay, that's fine. Because it's about 3:45 now, so quite late. And the thing is, once they've gone through, you're never quite sure how long they're going to actually be in there. They could be in there for an hour or more, because he did look like he needed a couple of stitches in his top, just above his eye, and possibly, I don't know, can they stitch your lips together? I don't know how that works. So I left it in there, and that was it. So all in all, a pretty exciting night, really. But why? I mean, what made... You see, it wasn't just one fight in one bar. This was all the different bars together, all having problems on this particular night. There was one of the bars doing spirits for £1.50. And the manager of the place I was working in reckons that was something to do with it. The fact that they were giving out cheap spirits. I mean, I don't drink anymore at all, right? But I used to occasionally, if I was out somewhere and not driving or on holiday, I used to have vodka and orange. And after a few of those, I was a little bit edgy. You know what I mean? And I do wonder if that was a problem. Do you know what? I'm getting ever so hot in here. Do you mind if can I just go over there and open the window? 1 second. I'm just going to go over there. Open that window there because it's a bit hot. And have a little sip of my water here. Oh, that's better. A little sip of water, thank you. Yeah, I mean, they often say that alcohol fuels violence, don't they? And I wonder if that was the case this time. So, there we are. What do you think? What do you think caused that? Have you ever been in a pub and it's erupted like that? Do let us know. The email. Have I said hello yet? My name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, over the years, I've DJ'd now for over 25 years in various clubs and things. That would rate as the... Oh, I've got itchy ear now. That would rate as the second worst... Shall we say, the second worst fight night that I've ever seen. There's not really been many. I can count on one hand the amount of times it's been really bad. I have never seen anyone knifed. And we can talk about this because you know it happens. It does happen. I've never seen a knifing. I've never seen anyone have a glass pushed in his face or anything like that. Am I lucky? And that's in 25 years. Just remember that. When you hear these things on the news and stuff like that, it is not going on in all clubs all of the time. It's not. Because I would blooming well see it. But it doesn't happen occasionally. The other time I saw was a big fight, and it was the entire pub, and it was over a girl. It's usually these fights in clubs are usually over one of three things: girls, drink, or drugs. One of those things sets something off. And I'm going back here about 23 or 24 years to a large-ish pub in Putney. And I used to DJ there on a Thursday night playing soul music. And it was fantastic. And very, very quickly, we built up a very, very busy night to the point of bursting. Within a few weeks, we had a very busy pub. And everything seemed to be going all right this particular night. And all of a sudden, the entire place erupted. Glasses being thrown, chairs being thrown. You've never seen any. I can still remember it now. You've never seen anything like it in your life. And the funny thing, we weren't quite sure what was going on, and I kind of hid underneath my record decks. And the funny thing is, there were people from both sides, because this went on for some minutes. There were people coming up and saying, "Is your gear all right, mate? Is your gear all right?" You know, because I wasn't involved. I never am. I don't see the point in fighting. Just walk away. That place was a mess after that, an absolute mess. And strangely enough, the next week I got a phone call and I got cancelled because they thought it was the music bringing the wrong crowd in. But it's not that. The music will bring whoever you want it to bring in. In my case, it would have been 20 to 30-year-olds, I suppose, on this particular venue. So there we are. I mean, it does happen occasionally, but not that often. It doesn't happen that often. I know you see it in the papers and all that all the time, whenever there's a big do or whatever, but actually, it doesn't happen that often. Have you ever experienced anything like that in a pub? Do let me know. The email address to the show, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right. The old swine flu thing. Well, fingers crossed, we're still okay here at the moment. And now they're telling us in the news that it's not looking as serious as they thought it first was. Yes, people are getting it, but they don't think that millions and millions of people are going to die. Let's hope they're right, because you're never quite sure, are you? Are they even telling the truth? Are they just saying that so that we won't worry so much? You never know. You just never know, do you? Anyway, fingers crossed. I already eat sort of fresh vegetables, and well, I say fresh, frozen. I'll be honest with you, it's frozen vegetables usually, but fresh fruit I have all the time, and I already do that. Funnily enough, I was talking to James Dean on the phone just before I came up the stairs, and I said, you see, with this swine thing, you must prepare for it. And this is what people don't do. They become ill, and then they start eating lemons and fruit and veg and taking vitamins. Too late. It's a bit like a war, isn't it? You know. Now, here in the UK, I've been very lucky not to have been around during any wars where I am. Right? But if you know someone's going to invade you, you prepare, don't you? If all those years ago the UK had not prepared for the invasion of the Germans, then they would have got us. Because once you're in, it's a lot easier, isn't it? They're a lot harder to get out than they are to keep out. But even if a few of them get in, if you've prepared, you're ready for them. And if you haven't got anything wrong with you at the moment, surely it's a good idea to prepare your body for a bit of an onslaught by starting and keeping up the fruit and veg all the time. I know I bang on about this sometimes, but I think it's so important to look after yourself and put good things into your body, not all this processed muck. And you know, I hold my hands up straight away. I eat processed muck. I eat crisps and chocolate and some pre-ready food. But I also do eat the fruit and veg. I do that. And I think you need to be prepared, especially with this flu coming along. Okay, so they're now saying it's not as bad as they first thought. It is still a serious thing. People still do die. Let's make no bones about this. People do still die from this flu. Okay? You need to prepare now before you get it. Get your defences up. Get them up, my dears. Switch on your shields. Shields at maximum. The only way you're going to get shields at maximum is to look after yourself. Fruit, veg and exercise. Very, very important. Especially when you get older. Especially you middle-aged people like myself. I'm 46. More important now for you. Especially if you've never done it before. Get your defences up before the enemy comes through. Go on, do it. It's not that hard. It really isn't. How long does it take to squeeze a couple of oranges into a glass? I know you can't be bothered. I look at my orange. I've got a bowl of oranges downstairs. I have between 2 and 4 oranges a day. I squeeze them. Okay, I get my oranges, I cut them in half. I've got one of those squeezing things. Put it in the glass, drink it, and it's about half a pint of orange you end up with. I'll do that once or twice a day. You can, of course, buy orange juice in cartons, freshly squeezed orange juice, or frozen or anything like that. But my way of thinking there, that orange juice has already been squeezed and has been sitting in that carton for a couple of weeks now. So surely that can't be as good for you as actually cutting the orange in half, squeezing it, and drinking it immediately. Huh? Think about it. Makes common sense, doesn't it? All right, put it this way. Would you look better if you've been walking around doing stuff all the time, right? Okay? Then you look in the mirror, you don't look too bad. If you lock yourself away in a room for a week and then you come out, how do you look then? But you don't look as good. Same with the stuff in oranges, isn't it? Those vitamins and that. Surely, if they've been squeezed and left to sit in that carton for a couple of weeks, or whatever it is, that can't be as good as squeezing the orange itself, can you? And sometimes I'll also add just one lemon in there as well. You know, don't get much juice out of a lemon, do you? It's like trying to get money out of me, dear. Squeeze me as hard as you can. You won't see a penny coming out of me, and that's it. So there you go. Get your defences up now. While you've still got the chance. Prepare for the enemy coming. The flu is coming. Prepare for it now. Fruit and veg. Eat properly. Take your exercise. Okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Tell me about any bar fights that you've witnessed before. Tell me about how you're eating and drinking. Have you been touched by the flu yet? Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right then, my darlings, on to some emails. Oh, look at that. We've only got 10 minutes left. I'm meant to spend the entire day today doing emails. Never mind. Let's see. From... Where are we going first? From Suko in New York. She's talking about the decorating in my room at the moment. My new green walls. She said, the green wall is lovely. It's one of my favourite colours. But I think you were a little heavy-handed with the green eyeshadow. What green? Is it reflecting on my eyes, the green wall? I thought it might, actually. What I need to do is actually get some lighting in here now. Some proper lighting. I meant to order some off eBay. A couple of lights at sort of floor level will sort out the sort of directed towards me. We'll sort it as a proper little TV studio we're getting together here, isn't it? I still think I might get one of those nice video cameras. Treat myself. You can't take it with you, as people keep saying to me. I don't know. Yeah, green was my mum's favourite colour as well, actually, Suko. I've actually got... I'm a little bit too far away from the camera for you to be able to see this. I've actually got a little green emerald on a fairly green on a fairly thin gold chain around my neck. That was my mother's, and green was her favourite colour as well, Suko. Suko says, thanks for mentioning Jade's winning her dance competition. She enjoyed hearing you congratulate her. Next weekend, she's dancing at Hershey Park, which is a popular theme park in Pennsylvania. I've heard of that, actually. I'm not quite sure what it is. I haven't seen pictures. I'll have to have a look at the internet on that. A couple of weeks ago, she danced at New Jersey Nets baseball game. Her dance career is starting to take off already, and she only turned 13 and a half yesterday. Jerry and I are very proud of her. I thought you and my friends in Reardon Town would appreciate this story. It's somewhat of a social commentary. Yeah, we love finding out about each other, Suko, you know that. Before Jade even won this year's dance competition, she asked her Facebook friends if she should sign up for the middle school's talent show. She danced in it. Do you know, I just looked round at my equipment, and I'll tell you why. For 1 minute, I thought I'd forgotten to turn the microphone on. So I could have been sitting here for an hour talking to myself, but I can see my meters moving now, so I know that's all right. What is it? The 50, Blimey, that's gone quick today, I tell you. Where we go. She told, let me see, before Jade even won, she danced in last year and won. She told us that every boy she should, and every girl, even her best friends, say she shouldn't. What, dance in a competition? Well, she says, I have to tell you something really fabulous about Jade. She is so unimpressed with herself and so supportive of the other dancers in her dance school. And in turn, the other dancers love to look up to her, even the older schoolgirls. Now, that's interesting, Suko. Because I am very unimpressed with myself. I have a fairly low self-esteem. Please don't write in and say you're good at this and you're marvellous at this. I'm not asking you to do this. I'm not fishing here for compliments. But I have a very, very low opinion of what I do. I wasn't always like that. I think the pinnacle of my DJing was actually that pub where the big fight took place 22 years ago. At that point, I thought, I'm quite good at this. But through the 90s and the 2000s, that feeling of thinking I was good at something didn't last very long. I don't know why. And I have a very, very low opinion of what I do. Whether it's DJing, whether it's doing the show, whether it's doing the live show that I do, I have a terribly, terribly low esteem and low opinion of what I do. Other lovely people do come up to me and tell me how much they've enjoyed the night and that they think I'm really good. But even when people say that, it makes no difference to me. I don't know why. I just think I'm not particularly good at this. And I have before seriously considered taking a job that would be easy for me to do, like work on trains. You remember that was that last year or the year before? I was going to try and get a job working on the trains, or even in a supermarket, because I knew I'd be able to do that without thinking too much. The job I do now, this talking to you and DJing, requires a lot of thought all the time. You're constantly thinking and dealing with many things at the same time. So I'm very similar to Jade in that. And young people who want to DJ or whatever, or podcast, do come to me for little bits sometimes, or they might want to ask a question, and I'm only too pleased to assist. Perhaps I should belong to one of those training programs or things like that, because there's nothing I like better than seeing someone else, not necessarily someone young, okay? Can be any age. There's nothing I like better than seeing someone else start something and achieve it because of perhaps me helping in some very small way. I'm very proud of it when, for example, there's another young lad now, Michael Holt is his name, and he's just started a podcast. I haven't got the details there at the moment. He's 14 years old. And he is one of my Facebook friends. If you want to have a little look for him, and perhaps you probably find a link to his podcast. He's just started podcasting. And he's started this podcast because he heard me doing one. He got in contact with me. He said, I might be interested in doing it, but I don't know if I'd be any good. And I said to him, don't worry, do it. Just go out and do it. Yeah, but I don't know. Listen, you're not listening to me. Do it. Doesn't matter. Forget what anyone else thinks. do the podcast, I'll have a listen and tell you what I think. And it will be a private communication between me and him. Now, I haven't heard his podcast yet. But do you know how that makes me feel? When someone has said, I'm doing it because he said I should try, or because I liked what he does. Do you know how that makes me feel? That is the best feeling in the world. It's almost like having a child. Fathers, I know we've got some fathers watching the programme or listening to the programme. It's almost like having your own son or your own daughter say, Mum or Dad, I want to do the job that you're doing, and then watching them do it. It's a fantastic feeling. That's the best part about doing this job, watching someone else come to you for a little bit of advice and then go out and do it themselves and succeed. I love it. I absolutely love it. So please, if you ever want any help doing this or anything else, if you've been with the show a while, you'll know quite a bit about me. More about me than I do about you, because I give it all away. I don't really lead a very mysterious secret life, do I? We share it all. But if there's anything that you want help with, then write into the show, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. We've only done half an email. I've run out of time. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening to the show today. I'll see you on the next one. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.